Welcome, Chris Mitchell, J-Dub. Good to see you. And all the other guys or gals watching. Today's topic, I was thinking about this. I was talking with my boy the other day. He says, why don't they teach marriage and divorce statistics in school? And I thought, I remember going through high school. Good to see Darius. And going through high school, and I think I took economics, and they barely touched upon, what was it? Or it was either like personal finance or economics, can't remember. But they talked about, moving out, cost of rentals, utilities, very basic, just the mention of marriage. But they didn't bring up any divorce statistics. I think my teacher might have said, divorce is also high as well, so you want to make that into account. But we should actually get into it. They should teach this, the reality of it, but they never will, because they need more and more men to believe in the programming so that we become servants, if you will, to the feministic agenda, and we indebt ourselves so that we never stop working. Listening from Romania, good to have you. It's a pleasure to have you on our channel, Darius. Good to have you. Paul Smecker is back. Good to see Paul. WHO. Why don't they teach marriage and divorce statistics? Same reason they don't teach real finances. Exactly. They should also teach how to stay out of debt. What is debt? They should talk the Federal Reserve. Is no more federal than Federal Express. Right? Bookshelf is back. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see what we got here. Big difference between academic and real world. It'd be interesting if you would have known marriage and divorce statistics going into it. Would that stopped you? Would it made you question? It's a rare man that can get into and understand statistics that decides not to do it. Well, we have a few in our chat. In our group, Scotty Sy never got married. He's age 40 or 39, somewhere around there. And Timmy Kramer, who's 57, 58, that listened to his uncle at age 18 and never did it. But most men, as we've talked about this, get very curious, and they take the curiosity and the fantasy, thinking they're going to get putty every day for the rest of their life, 3 or 4 times a day, and it'll be amazing. And they realize very quickly that things dry up like the Sahara Desert. Europe's in the house. Good to see you. Paul says, schools are just indoctrination training centers. The U.S. Western education system is based on getting you into a factory job. But I think there's programming within the education system that, and especially now with all the wokeness, that they want men to get married and to basically become slaughtered pigs in the system. How does debt impact your life? Why? Wouldn't they teach that? That debt is slavery. Well said, brother. They want us in debt. A man that is not in debt is a man that is not controlled, for the most part, financially, and can make very good decisions. Timothy Sokol's back from California. San Pedro. WHO, more emphasis into how you label yourselves. Yes, I won't read those words because it'll upset the overlords and yous on the use tubes, as Hammer would say. Seraphim, good to see you, checking in. But that's the reality. They're never going to teach it. I mean, it'd be great for young men. Do they teach this at church? Church is also a proponent of marriage, because marriage under the eyes of Christ is something divine and distinguished. So they're not going to teach it. I did go through, Rusty Rivers, good to have you, driving his train high on cocaine. What they're doing at the bottom, at the end of the day, is this. I lost my train of thought, damn it. Here. So when I went through my divorce out here, you had to go to 2 hours of mandatory state and county divorce a class. The first class was all about not to get divorced, what it do to the kid. I thought it was a very interesting class. Why? And it's basically for people to get out of to really think about what they're doing, to the potentiality of the family and the kids. And then the second half is all about the legality of the system, how it works, what you can do, what your rights are, and so forth. But they really taught a lot in that first hour about what happens after divorce, what happens to the kids, statistics on when the man typically remarries within the first 18 months. If you don't get remarried in the first 18 months, apparently, according to the statistics, you have an 85% chance that you will not marry again. Europe says, I think the biggest problem is when she decides to divorce your ass, you lose everything and be homeless. It's like you got an uppercut. You got KO'd. You sure do, brother. Did I shout out to Chris Mitchell, the Emperor of Canada? If not, I am now. The USA is laughing stock of the market. Time for the adults to run things. The woke Olympics. Options and opportunities are reduced with debt and jobs, bad credit. It's also a way to control people, right? Controlling people into debt. And marriage is debt as well. It's not only financial debt, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual debt. Good to see you. Roland Witt, my homie, says Bookshelf. Retro Shadow, the best teacher in life is Jesus Christ, the Holy Bible. It should leave the soul and body for everyone. Lots of red pills in the Holy Bible. I know Hammer talks a lot about his Bible, reads from it. Nothing wrong with it. Timothy Sokol, smart men don't get married. Smart men realize what a potential trap it could be. I'm so happy I just stopped trying with all this stuff. If I meet someone, great. If not, my life goes on. Found a hobby. Good for you, Mike P. Look, men put too much emphasis on chasing tail. A wife reduces opportunities, reduces options, reduces a man's focus, and drive leads to depression. Well said. Good to see Radical Rafter in the house. So it'd be great to hear some of these statistics. What's the statistics of men that get divorced? Statistics of women that file for divorce, we know, is 80% of the time. Well, you would not know that unless you were understanding how divorce works or you're going through it yourself. 80% of the time that a woman files for divorce, she's divorcing the couple. What does that tell you? The commitment pattern of women. Not very strong. Modern women compare themselves with the top 1% rich people on social media. Delusional geeking is becoming normal. That's also a big problem. Well said, Europe. Mike P, don't make women a priority. I mean, there's so many different statistics out there. You know, the second marriages have a 74% failure rate. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth and on marriages have a 90 to 95% divorce rate. What about this? High school sweethearts that get married right after high school, you know, or they were boyfriend and girlfriend as sophomores and they never have any other boyfriends. They get married. It's a 95% divorce rate. Does anybody know that? And I wonder why. Because people change. You'll end up depressed. There's a lot of depression within men. What about the rates of debt with married people versus non-married people? That would be an interesting statistic. I try to teach my boys that. Guys, you understand that the divorce rate is really not 50%. It's a lot higher. It might be 50% on paper, but it's the other 50% are, 48% of those of the 50% are miserable. There's sexless marriages. What's the statistic? 11% of all marriages are sexless, according to some study. It's probably a lot higher than that. There's no prosthetic for an amputated soul. Well said, WHO. That's a good idea. Shock the kids with the divorce rates of second and third marriages. They should know that. Seraphim, women do that since the no-fault divorce laws. Well said. I agree, Christian. Good to see you, brother. Ronald Reagan was a good man, but he was pushed. Most likely the deep state got to him and he signed it in 1969. Love doesn't exist anymore. It's about what he can do for me, says Europe. But big things, what is marriage? What does marriage entail? Modern marriage is open marriage or traditional only for men, but modern for women don't work. Well said. Men want to make it traditional. I think men are still about that, but women don't. Self-deletion is a big problem with men who fall in romantic relationships. I've had 4 of my friends over the last 40 years delete themselves based on a woman, 2 of them based on an ex-wife. I think it's safe to say the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. Well said. Yep. I get lonely. Once in a while, I can always go on a massage if I really want. There you go. Yeah. Loneliness is just external validation from somebody. That's why we're here. Helping men understand the guy that's looking back in the mirror is the one you need to get close to. Gents, remember this. A woman's test is her accountability. A man's test is a woman. Well said. That's the way it always has been. I want to know why a man has to continue providing after divorce, but women don't. Well, back when it first started, a lot of women didn't have careers in the late 60s as they do today. JR's back in the house. Good to see you, brother. Wrenching. Today's women want a cuck and a cucked husband who pays for everything, while wifey flickety flanks the neighborhood and expects the husband to excite it for her. Well, a lot of these women today, you have to keep their attention. You do one wrong thing, they're on Tinder again, looking for the next guy. Right? Teach the kids she's not yours. It's just your turn. I've told my boys that. Brandon Trueblood is back. Good to see you, brother. They should share paternity fraud statistics. That'd be a great part of the course. Absolutely. Modern women call it providing, but in reality, it means pay my bills, fake hair, pay my nails, fake up, and all that stuff. Well said. Timmy Kramer back, forever bachelor, kicking it in San Diego, Wells Vagina. She's not yours. It's just your turn. Wolf comes back, gracing us with his present. Kick out the jams. There you go. The problem is that all the banks are a joke and they print money. The Federal Reserve got their hands involved. Didn't let free market conditions move. Let them leave and go back on Tinder. Shun attachment, find self-worth. That's all we're talking about. Well said, brother. Another problem is government keeps taxes high. Sure. Remember, a minimalistic man is very difficult to control if he's out of debt, if he's not married, if he's not entangled with a lady. It was a lot better without those smartphones. I agree with that statement. I think it's dumbed us down. It's destroyed relationships. Modern women are prosties that are doing it for free. Well said. Well said. President of Africa just basically exposed the Illuminati. Illuminati's been around since day one. Kamala Harris went from deep throating to deep state. Even the blacks are not taking this whole blank anymore. I think they're waking up too. People are waking up. Federal income tax should not exist for people who earn less than $250. Never used to be that way. Well, federal income tax became something in what? Was it 1913? Even in the time of the founding fathers, the tax rate was like 1.3%. Oh yeah, they've been able to skedaddle, and then Ronald Reagan knocked the highest. It was 90%, and then he got in and he knocked the highest bracket down to 70%. People were going crazy. Go figure. Beavis and Butthead are the real Chads. They sure are. But that's reality. Teaching this kind of information would definitely help young men and men really realize as they get older the realities. But even teaching statistics won't, remove the curiosity factor or the fantasy programming factor that we've all been programmed with. But it could help. Bookshelf, got to stop using the term ladies. A lady, yes, I think you're right. Sounds feminine, classy, and so forth. Mark P., back in the day, if the community needed something, we came together and built it, contributed to it freely, knowing it would make their lives better. Truth. They can't control the world anymore, and they can't suppress the information. Things are getting out, and I think they're going nuts over it. But there'll be some sort of black swan event, you know. Rich Democrat donors effectively pay nothing in taxes, while small and mid-sized companies are taxed to the point they can't afford. Sure. Yeah, the big companies, they raise their price. Once taxes go up, they just raise the prices. We pay, in the end, the consumer. Yep, we cut a lot of taxes out. Get rid of all that pork. Yeah, he's moving to Texas. No income tax in Texas, but high real estate taxes. Another issue is tons of our tax dollars are wasted on things that don't help us. Why are we bailing out people? Good to see E back in the house. Good to see you, my man. Why are we helping other countries out? I mean, if it was a truly needed thing, you know, if there was a gigantic tempest or storm that destroyed a continent or whatever, that would be fine to help. But we need to follow what Ron Paul says and get our noses out of their business. Seraphim, I agree with that statement 100%. Uncle Bill's wisdom for 300, Trebek. Yeah, Timmy didn't learn. Did Timmy learn anything about marriage or divorce in school in Chicago? They just teach us nonsense in school. I did enjoy learning about and getting good at illustration and fine arts. Well, yeah, they taught us a ton of nonsense. They taught us, you know, ways to just get interesting jobs or non-interesting jobs. Absolutely agree. Mike P. Need to freeze all foreign aid. Well said. What really irks me, says Mike, is seeing the Dem state cities putting up yeah, I was in Chicago, and downtown Chicago took over a luxury hotel. Women's are not that angels that we think they are. They plan their life from the beginning from short. They are very clear. Even on traffic, women are selfish when they drive a car. They sure do plan it. Hola, Mochi. Well, WW3 Wolf King could happen any second. Any second. You cannot convince me these people aren't taking jobs either. Yeah, I mean, look, they got to eat too. They're taking things from people that are not theirs, and they're taking position. Now, if they want to come legally into the United States, that's great. But we know why they open the border gates. Where do welfare of the people start with? Social programs for one gender, then another? Sure. I think it started when the first woman was given the right to vote. Mike P, the problem is the libs, yes. But they can't take a gut punch. Okay, WHO. I wish I learned this big tab truck stuff back in the day. I'd be banging more chick. Well, I wish I would have. There's part of me, again, if there was a time machine, I'd jump on it. But I wouldn't be here speaking to you unless I went through what I did. And the reality is, if I had to do it all over again, let's say I got another life after this life. By the time I got out of school or I dropped out or whatever, I'd be traveling the world. Mochi, 304, brother. I think we should all just get girlfriends and wives. What's the worst that can happen? I know. I mean, we're just all, what do we call? We're just coping. We all want to be married and have kids. Because it's a wonderful, you guys sell me on divorce. I mean, come on. I'm sold on marriage. You know that. I love marriage. We all need to get married. Yes, Seraphim, you're absolutely right. One endorses the check and one signs the check. Why can't we have a party that supports the working man anymore? Yeah, people go, oh, there's going to be three. Look, this is a two-party system. We're hitting 250 years in 2 years as a nation of the United States of America. And typically societies collapse around the 250-year mark. So we might see in our lifetime a very different United States. Yeah, lots of rhinos in the Republican Party. They don't even teach us the stock market in school, and yet land mass is partially ruled by Wall Street. Well said. There's a lot of things, but our education system in the United States, outside of the wokeness, is based on getting manufacturing jobs in the 20s. Do you want some tostones? I like tostones. I love plantains. That is why I don't vote. I think this country is a disaster, exporting the idiotic Pax America. Well, really, if you think about it, there's only 5 states that call the election, 5 swing states. Waiting for the meteor, says Mike. I know I got a friend that's like that. Sigma, they don't teach real finances, even simple interest. Look at women with $900 a month car payments. So what I did with my son, I said, look, he's got some money, throw it in this 5% Discover high interest money market account. And he's like, Dad, the first month, he's got like 20 grand from working. And I said, put it in there. And because he kept it in the Chase savings account, which pays like 1/1,000,000th of 1%. And yep, well said, Christian. And his first month, he put it in June. He got $50 in interest paid. I go, you just stack it. This is how you understand. Now, next month you'll get even more because if you don't touch it, because now it's $20,050. Sure enough, it went up to like $51. So he started thinking. I said, now the other thing, debt works the same way. Think about that. Your credit card that you think is free money works the same way. I think the job occultists got to the ladies for El Diablo. They are walking portals. There's a lot of dark energy out there. I'll tell you that. I think this country will fail the same way the USSR did. I don't think you're mistaken. It depends on where you live, Bookshelf. I mean, if I lived in the United States and had to do all the, the cost, it's basically learning to live minimalistically. Yep. OF is a joke. Yeah, man. I heard somebody say that, Seraphim. Yeah. I don't know, guys. It depends on how you want to live. Only fancy has already been a coming joke. If you think about this, you can live very well on very little amounts of money. Whether it's in the United States, you probably live a little bit, but in different Asian countries, Mexico, South America, Central America, you can live very good. Unless you want to live like an American, which you got to adhere to their culture. Ty M had to come by and say hello. Good to see you, brother. Megatron is back. Good to see you, Mega. Got some wrenches in. Look what they did to pensions for the working class. Yep. A lot of women going to OnlyFans, that's for sure. Fast interest payment, never go by 12 months, go by 10. Interest by 10 is the payment. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, I taught a 19-year-old boy, really, he saw it firsthand. Now his mind's thinking. I said, now, when you spend that money, it takes away what you can earn, right? Yeah. Social Security, yeah, will it be around? We can't even pay our $35 trillion we just landed today. I did a half Japanese, never had a black girl. Half Japanese girl. She was born in Japan. Come get a free government phone. He gonna put gas in my car. He gonna give me a phone. He gonna pay my rent. He gonna pay my utility. Barack Obama. He gonna put gas in my tank. Someone's got to pay for it. Japanese culture would be fun. I like that. I want to visit Japan. Did we all mention it's all monitored? Of course. It's all monitored. K-Plan back. Good to see you, brother. Government is just a way, again, the Constitution of the United States says the government should fear the people, but the people fear the government now. Well said, Mike P. Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to teach somebody is to have them do it themselves. And just tell them, on a side of interest in a bank, but credit cards, people run up their credit cards and they think it's free money and it works the exact same way on the other side. I agree. They refuse to challenge these stupid gun laws. I don't need fallible people in robes to decide what my rights are. Well, you don't want to be in a courthouse, a family court either, because you'll decide too. Even though they taught us marriage and divorce stats, that they would have to make us feel like the problem. Sure. Carl's back. Carl, what's up? I was checking out Vagabond Awake the other day. When you look at how women view men, the cheaper option is to go overseas for your fix and enjoy a culture where woke isn't endorsed. And there are some Asian countries out there, sure. Chasing women, Mike P, is just not a good use of your time. Juliana, this massive money bags in a Cuban. Wow. Cuban women are beautiful too. The nation will break itself apart. I agree. Let's see. Bookshelf says, government is necessary in any society, but there's a larger conversation. It's all right. We talk whatever. We talk what we need men and boys to understand. My boys understand that. Nothing more real than the first paycheck. Yeah, I remember my kids like, Dad, I worked 20 hours at $8 an hour 10 years ago, and he got $120 or something. I go, yeah, it's government taking your money. That sucks, Dad. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. I should have taken advantage of women who were coming up to me back in the day. The cell phones ruined everything. They sure did. You had to open your mouth back in the day. People they blow up like a Goodyear blimp when they get married, don't they? Men are the problem. We are marrying them. Yeah, I think men have contributed to the downfall of society more than women. Self-appointed judges also decided to crucify Jesus. Pontius Pilate. All right, brother. Have a good one, Christian. Good to have you. I would rather go back to something like the Articles of Confederation. The feds, yeah, you're onto something. Yeah, social media was the destroyer. You got a bunch of lawyer-look millionaires representing regular folks. Guys, if you understand the fact that the legal system is so messed up, it's basically why we pay such high prices for medical care, for lots of things. It's based on tort. We need tort reform. Do what you want, password bros. Just don't dismiss the fact that female nature is global. Yeah, they have the internet in all areas. Carl says, even at $200 for a lifetime, it's worth it. Slow travel, get past the visa requirements. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you can live in a backpack, you've killed it. You can rent a fully furnished place. You don't need much. Minimalistic living does a lot to your mind. It declutters your mind. Most people that are sick in today's healthcare world have a lot of possessions that they hold on to. Men stop doing what men do when they get married. We stop running, walking, building things. Well said. I gained 30 pounds. J.K. Rowling accused men for the debacle. Yeah, at least she's speaking up, and they're trying to cancel her. How can you cancel the third? Her books are the third outside of the Bible and the Quran, I think, are the third most printed books ever in world history. I actually want to learn how to leverage debt to the max to produce a max income. You'd have to watch Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He talks about that. It was a toxic waste of 2 hours. I didn't see it. I want to watch that movie Trap by Shalahan today. Government is always a representative of the men who run the society. Sure. Again, if you are not in the system and you live minimalistically, you're very difficult to track and to control. If you're mobile, geez, even better. I'm researching that most don't require long-term. And a lot of these countries, Carl and WHO, is you can get visas if you have like $10,000, stuff like that. Or you make an investment. I don't know how you can have a successful society without men in charge of the dispute. You can't. You can't have two pilots in a plane. You have to have one pilot and one co-pilot. She used real witchcraft spells in her books. Be careful. Interesting. I had no idea. Never read a book. by her. Seraphim can, okay. Godzilla -1. All right, I'll check it out. Carl says, Rad, medical care is all about cost shifting. Those who can pay will, those who can't. It's interesting. So I've worked with, explanation of benefit software where, you get it in the mail after you go for a procedure or a checkup or something. And they're now putting on it, I think the government passed that if you can't pay it, it says, if you cannot pay this medical bill, this bill could cost you nothing. Please call so-and-so. Please call 1-800-so-and-so. But you're absolutely right. Those that pay, those that can afford healthcare are paying for those that can't. Attractive women don't even say hi or nice greetings anymore, just straight to the point. They throw you away in the trash. Well, because they're entitled. To their downfall, they'll get exactly what they do to men eventually when they hit the wall. How do I feel about adoption? I think it's a very Christian thing to do, very loving thing to do, but I would not do that just because, I have my own kids. I don't know, if I didn't, maybe that would have been a scenario for me and the ex. But I think it's a very courageous thing to do, and I think it's wonderful for those kids that can have a family. But I think it could get messy. Men will have to correct all this crap that has gone wrong, bad do decisions based on feelings rather than hard truth. Well said. Yeah. My ex-girlfriend really destroyed me emotionally. Well, I think it happened to a lot of people, Christian. If a girl likes you nowadays, you'll bang her the first night. Absolutely. K-Plan, she used what? I chose to forego children. I'm just not interested. Well, it's tough. And schools do ruin kids, especially today. Most parents today aren't the parents. The government is. What is funny is we have trained medical personnel doing nothing. 1 week in a month in every community. Medics, combat medics. There you go. You guys just don't spend your time chasing any woman. I don't believe there's a strong return on investment for it. Women don't care about you. A lot of them don't. 98% are not recommended. Don't invest time or effort. Yeah, or money. Right? And you started drinking. A lot of guys start drinking and checking out. Every man loses in the game of love. They sure do. So, well, how about this? Most men don't win in the game of love. Because the women don't play the game of love. They play the game of what have you done for me lately? Like dating a wild creature, you chill from the woods and release it back into it. There you go. Carl says, it's ironic. I work in the population health to improve outcomes for seniors to increase their longevity and reduce costs, and yet we all allow blanks to use our healthcare at free cost. Correct. In fact, they get scared of that sort of nonsense. It says in the Bible to be sober and vigilant. It sure does. And relationships are difficult. The best relationship you can have is with yourself. Getting through those times when you feel lonely. Loneliness is just you feeling that you need someone to tell you they thank you for existing today. You don't need that. The guy looking back at you in the mirror should be telling you that. The less you care about them, the more they chase you. Well said, Psychology 101. I had my 2 kids, so I couldn't start drinking because I couldn't count on her to stay sober when we divorced. You'll never fight forever again. There you go. There's no incentive for a woman to be in a monogamous relationship. And 98% of women don't follow that. They've got multiple attention in their phone. Remember, a woman's currency for the most part is attention. No kids, folks. It's enough. MGTOW is spoken about in many different forms, but basically it's a self-preservation as an alternative to societal success. Well said, brother. I'd rather get laid by some good-looking biatches and not settle down. Women are tyrants, 98%. Like Rad says, let them build you strong, not destroy you. 2%. I got a sister that's one of them. Best thing, focus on you, your life, your finances, your career, and enjoy your loves, dogs, hobbies, travel, even a simple sunset. Yeah, learn to love the little things. Learn to love the little things. Lots of different purposes in life we have. You know, there's some guys that want to have a wonderful life in physical health, mental health, and they do everything that they can to keep themselves exploring life. You die when you quit learning. That's my grandfather told me that. He died at 103 years and 8 months. All he had was a hip replacement until the very end when he got diabetes. But he got diabetes a week before he died. He said, and I asked him one time, I said, Grandpa, 96, it's sharp as a tack at the time. And between 96 and when he died, obviously software was out of date, things like that, forgot. But he said the moment he stopped learning, pruning his pecans and orange trees in California, he said, that is when men die. Most men die in retirement within the first 2 to 3 years. Did you know that? They have no purpose. They worked for 45 years. They're done working, and then there's a huge percentage that die because they have nothing to focus on. Well, they fish for 3 months with their buddies, but then they realize a lot of their buddies didn't fish or couldn't fish, and they wither away. Always push yourself. Remember, strong men go through difficult, hard times. Weak men have it easy. That's why fasting's hard, but it makes you strong. That's why jumping in cold plunges is hard, but it makes you strong. You have to push your body. You have to do the hard stuff. Would you rather climb the tallest mountain or explore the deepest depth? There you go. And that's what we're talking about. Climbing a mountain is hard. Do you cut your losses and learn the trades you were meant to do? A college education isn't worth that paper. Absolutely. Very, very, and especially with AI taking over computer programming jobs now. And eventually, you will eventually, within the next 5 to 10 years, go to a kiosk run by an AI robot who will, for basic medical, if you have a sore throat or you need medication or you have a rash, you won't even see a real doctor. God, skate, fish, good friends, hike, good food. There you go, brother. Do the things that bring you joy. A woman does not bring you joy. A woman makes you work hard on stress, constantly second guessing. Am I doing good? No, put all that energy on you. I disagree. A degree gets your foot in the door. It used to when I went through school, but not anymore. Depends, I guess. Trades aren't for everybody. One person doesn't like you, and you won't ever be one of the guys. Yeah. You got to find out what you like. That's why you should do some of that stuff in high school. Go spend a week, working as for an electrician or a plumber. With the way things are going today, I'd be more than self-checkout in 20 years. Smith and Wesson plan. I hope that changes, but I see trend lines in financial markets, and this is no different. There you go. College is good for the rich. Well, if you go to MIT or Harvard, even if you have a stupid degree, you'll get hired anywhere. Arvero, good afternoon to you, brother. Just a quick appearance. All right. Yeah, IT's good, I think, but coming down the road, you're going to see a lot of AI. I would want to explore the depths because I find the ocean fascinating. Cape Plan, there you go. Don't they say that the ocean has only been explored like 3%? A woman is not worth the long, hard road of BS just to be turned down. Know it now. Underwater basket weaving. My dad used to say that. Are you getting a degree in underwater basket weaving? A lot of useless degrees. STEM is the only thing I would tell you to get a degree in. Like business, I know a ton of people who majored in business but then partied all through high school and went into HR. HR. Was he a Toby from The Office? Too many people trying to get in IT and driving wages down. Yeah, well, you can go on Google and get a certificate. My really good friend in Virginia, his son, as a junior in high school, got a Google certificate. His senior year in high school, he's making $80,000 a year, going to school. Now he's making $140,000. I don't know, something like that, and he's 23. But yeah, a lot of guys are getting into it. I agree. If I knew better after the Navy, I'd go into Maritime Academy, become a tugboatman. College was cool, but it wasn't my ticket to steady. So can you make good money being a tugboat captain or whatever? Ah, I see what you mean. Can't stand HR is the weirdest people. They're like, those are like the 304s uh, of the corporate world, the HR gals. Oh, can't stand them. They're so weird too. They talk weird. They're just all the same. So they do make some good money. Interesting. What kind of money can they make? And do you have to work weird hours? I swear, all the dating apps now, 98% of chicks are doing OnlyFans. Oh yeah, they want you off the dating, and they all are very, devious looking. They show a lot of skin and flesh in these Tinder profiles to get you to talk. Yeah, it's stupid. That's how they advertise. Okay. Or military sea lift command, a federal job. Interesting. Had no idea. I probably wouldn't be an underwater welder because their lifespan is like 12 years after they become one because of all the chemical or the gases and the decompression that they have to deal with, and especially down on that, doing that stuff. Tugboat versus hammerhand. There you go. But they are not 304s, right? Exactly. I thought about going into the Marines after, but now the military. A lot of folks have said, even Terrence Pop has said that, and he did, a significant amount in the military. He said, no, it's not the same. If I had to do, I looked at the Coast Guard pretty strong when in the Navy when I was in high school. If life is too easy to vote for Kamala Harris, she'll make life a lot more harder. But if life is too hard to vote for Donald Trump, he'll make it a lot of fun and easy. Well said. Good to see Big Chris back. I hope it goes well. I hope it goes well. The real shame is the loss of truly being able to love women as a wife and mother. We know it can work because we have seen it. Well, they demonize women that are mothers. They've told women that they can do everything. They can be a mother. They can be a career woman. They can be a politician. They can be a wife. They can't. You can be a mother and a wife, or you can be a career woman. That's it. You can't do them both. Very difficult. Very difficult. I'm still rebuilding my health and life. PTSD, autoimmune, I'll get there. Fasting, my man. Fasting, cold plunges, saunas. Do you spend your life on LinkedIn like women do on OnlyFans? No joke. I literally saw a woman post about Southwest Airlines changing their board. Yeah, LinkedIn has become just a cesspool of idiocy. People posting like, today marks the 10th year I went into accounting, and also the 10th year my wife and I got married, and the 10th year I paid off my student loans. We don't care. LinkedIn was all about networking. Now it's turned into Facebook. Did we ever feel love from any woman we dated? I think my ex loved me, or I interpreted her actions and words as that at one point in our marriage. Who knows? Do they love like us? Well, no. Their brains and our brains are foreign to each other. No education in school about female nature, and none from my blue pill dad. Well said, Slam. Good to have you. No more Edith Bunkers. LinkedIn has become, it's all resume. Yeah, it's goofy. And then if you look at someone, they look back at you. I went in private mode. I mean, I have gotten positions off of LinkedIn that I worked for. I butchered my life going for a carpentry instead of working on a ship. Oh, well, I can't complain too much. I'm at home after work. I missed instead being out from, I think a lot of us would have chosen different things, knowing what we know now. We obviously would have chosen probably not to get married, not to most likely have kids, not to go through the bullshit, living a more simplest life. I think a lot of men would have done that. Why can't this be love? Yeah, that's a great song, but a lot of guys talk about it. Love Stinks, Jay Giles band. Go figure. 10 years ago, LinkedIn was useful. Now it's all about social validation. Credit. Yep. My son just graduated from high school. I attended my first Truni conference. Oh, yeah. Now they got the labels next to their name. Guys, clown world for 300, Trebek. I would have run for political office, get rich in 4 years, and retire, benefits for life. Oh, they go, it's funny. They push for education reform, but yet they send their kids to private college or private schools. Don't understand it. Again, we are not one of them. They are the overlords. Women have made their opinions of one another more superior than the opinions of men. And because most women are pathetic liars, they're all giving each other terrible advice. Well said. Big Chris laying it down to Chinatown. Absolutely. And I've asked multiple women over the years, why'd you get divorced? Well, my sister got divorced. Well, I figured I'd get divorced because that was, I go, didn't you learn from anybody? Your friends, your sisters are still miserable, single, their lives, yeah, I should have listened to them. Well, now you're hive mind. Stereo from Winnipeg, Van Halen with Sammy wrote too many sappy love songs, still love Sammy. Yeah, I do. 5150 was a great album. To see Mysterio. I almost was hired as a financial advisor at American Express with an art degree. I chickened out. That's interesting. Learn more from Red Pill since 2018 about female nature from divorce and becoming a single parent. Attaboy. Yeah, we found each other online. We found this information. So many simps, when you look at them, trough the Red Pill lens. Oh, they hate it. They hate it because they think what we're doing, we're just incels and we can't get ladies and we can't do this, we can't do that. We're just complainers. And then there's a significant amount of men in the manosphere that are like that. But for the most part, most of the chat people that I know, came out of marriages or relationships, have kids, have great jobs, are successful. We just talk about reality. Women love the game, not the man. Cold hard truth, says Retro. Well said. Love is fiction. To a woman, female will like you for a while. Mentally, they move on. Absolutely. I'll tell you a story about a gal named Tanya in high school, one of my friends. Slayer never wrote any love songs. Season in the Abyss. South of Heaven. Best jobs I had was a contractor and engineering tech pub. There you go. Love Stinks, Jay Giles. No me gustan los gatos, Mochi. I was a third order minor Franciscan in training for a bit, learned how to embrace poverty, and now it's really hard to want to buy any hardcore consumer products. There you go. Our upbringing definitely paints our outlook in life. I'm not an incel. I can get laid if I really want to. I just don't really care that much about it. So there you go. And I had a friend in high school. Her name was Tanya. Yeah, you're probably right, brother. Boingo, boingo. And she always liked me, and I never liked her. I wasn't really attracted to her, but we were friends. Hung out. She'd come with a skate gang. We'd hang out together every now and again. But I knew she liked me. She'd tell me. I'm like, dude, I'm not into you like that. I had a girlfriend at the time. Once you take it, there's no going back. Well said. AC/DC never wrote a love song. So one day she likes this guy. She likes this guy. He's a black guy. Went to Lincoln High School, if you know that, in Portland. That was Martin Armstrong? Ty, that one? Yeah, yeah. Martin Armstrong, look him up. He's pretty good. So anyhow, she likes this guy, and the guy doesn't really give her the time of day. So then she called me one night. He called me, and he wants to take me on a date. Okay, great. And so they go on a date, and then I'm like, how's it going? And she's like, a week or two later, she's like, she goes, I don't like him anymore. I go, what do you mean? You were after this guy for like 6 months, and he finally, gave you the time of day and took you out, and now he likes you. Yeah, the fact that he likes me means I don't like him anymore. So whoever said that comment is absolutely right. They like you until they don't. So if you're too hard to get and pinned down, they like you even more. But the moment you say I love you, or you pin yourself down or doing that romantic crap, they don't like you anymore. 98%. I mean, if you really have to get laid that bad, go to massage parlor. Sure. Yeah, I'd like to go to visit Bhutan. I was thinking about that a couple weeks ago. Anyone with $50, there are no incels. Well, incels say that, well, because Chad doesn't have to pay for it. Why should they? It is a lot cheaper. Well said. Good to see Steven back in the chat, checking in. Ace of Spades was a great song by the great late Lemmy Kilmister. It's hard to live life without the physical. That's the cross a man has to bear. Sure, we have that. We want to spread our seed. Mr. Hemi is back. Whole lot of Rosie. Simp song for fat chicks. There you go. AC/DC. The Jack is about STDs. Love song, technically interesting. I think being a monk would be very hard. I think there'd be a lot of peace, quiet, and freedom. A lot of monks over in Europe make their own beer. Apparently, it's delicious. Good to see Managed Roy. What is Managed Roy? Too much sex builds mental stress. Yeah, there you go. I think you're right. Are good guys and nice guys really different from each other? A good guy is a guy that does it for the sake of his heart. A nice guy does it for validation. He does it for a result. Chad pay with time, not money. Well said, Mochi. But that's the reality. I mean, they should be teaching a lot of this stuff in school. They should be teaching what makes male nature and female nature different. They should be teaching statistics, divorce, marriage, relationship, single father, single mother, kids raised by single parents. Where does that lead? But they won't. Again, public education is a breeding ground for the prison industrial complex, if you think about it. Tom Baker was a Catholic monk. Interesting. For 6 years before he became a doctor. What was it like? It was hectic, very stressful, especially in the 70s and 80s with how the economy was. But we got to know each other very well. I don't think so. Nice guys make these mental contracts like if I do X. Yeah, well, exactly. They do things for the result. Good guy does it for his heart. It's not true for everyone, says Seraphim. Well said, brother, the monk life. What's your instincts tell you to do? The opposite, don't do it. There you go. Mike P used to be a nice guy. A lot of reform simp nice guys here. Schools should start teaching boys how to live and enjoy life without women. It'll make the world a better place. Even though women claim they want to be left alone, I know they'll disagree. Well, what if they had all of that energy that they could put elsewhere into creating a new invention or something like that? Great statement. Like I would think, if I buy her dinner, I will get laid. Yeah, they think the nicer they get, they want something out of it, which is basically what women do to men, right? They try to be nice to get something out of it. Monk success really increases by avoiding female triggers, basically limit your interaction with women or make sure it's clear you don't date. Well said, Stephen. What do you think of Ricardo Montalban as an actor? I thought he was a good actor. He was a little creepy at times. I vaguely remember they are teaching relationships in South Korea. Good luck with that replacement birth rate. There you go, Bolo. Bolo from Canada. Good to see you. Nothing but single moms at my son's daycare. They all want help. Stay in the car, Slam. My sister was a Chad chaser, and now her bipolar Chad left her. My niece. And then went nuts. There you go. Manager Roy says, I've showed you my machine vision project. There are many projects we are building like that. Yeah, and you've got all that time, Manager Roy, to do that. Good for you. Sometimes I find myself falling back in the simp nice guy. Well, pull yourself out of it. We'll use it to participate in U.S. competition. Or the competition. Yeah, good. I think you have a good shot of winning. Modern women don't realize what they have. Many children are able to raise them, and that is the greatest adventure they could ever go on. Sure, the greatest for those that want to be mothers is the greatest occupation or career that a woman could have. Probably, Mike. Japan has a very, very scary birth rate going forward. Their population within the next 30 to 40 years will be 70% less. Corinthian leather. I'm stuck with all the IQ people here, Rag. You got bitches who want Jose, Tyrone, Manuel's, can't connect with anyone. Is Utah like that? Oh, there's always the Chad subculture. Even in Utah, I'm a good guy, but at work, though, outside the workplace, I'm a different animal. Yeah, you got to play the game. Politics. The worst thing we did was tell families that they can't afford to have more than a few children. China's struggling with their one-child rule. Japan refuses to take in immigrants. They are very racial. I've heard that. I heard they don't like any other races, Asian races specifically. The yoga instructor asked me on a date. I am flattered that a woman asked me out. She is a good-looking blonde. Interesting. I remember you telling me that. But she is 49, I'm 45, and difficult to identify her politics. Well, it's a very strong possibility that she is a liberal. Japan shouldn't take in migrants. It doesn't owe anyone anything. Well, there's a reason we have borders, language, and culture is to preserve our bloodlines. Why would anybody want to live in the same world everywhere they go? There'd be no reason to go and visit areas. They speak the same language, eat the same foods. We go to maintain our culture. That is why borders are so important. Borders basically say another, country that invades us are going to kill all the men and rape all the women and then create their bloodlines within the culture. There's a reason culture and borders are important. Nothing wrong with going out for coffee. Sure. I mean, look, but Steven's also weighing the trigger point, right? For him. Sims will do anything for the box. You're right, Slam. No self-control. I think it's very difficult in today's world, Mysterio, for them to do that. Maybe in, the Greatest Generation. My grandfather had 2 wives, but they both died. I would be glad to help repopulate Japan. You got to get over there because apparently they're trying to get black men over there. Literally, I read an article on it. If you are not a native-born Japanese, you'll always be a gaihin. Interesting. Until women start valuing the opinions of men over the opinions of women, then women will forever be a danger to themselves. What if you went up to a gal and said, Big Chris, you're a danger to yourself. You need to protect yourself from yourself. 12 kids. I mean, that's how people survived back in the days, Bookshelf. They had to plant the seeds and work the farms just to live, build. And back then it was a numbers game because several infants died at birth or very early within 18 months. I'm going to go Beach Boys, Mysterio. We work 40 to 45 weeks a year just to get 2 weeks off. Exactly. Minimalistic living. But you need to work a lot if you have a wife and kids. She carries a Glock in her Porsche and her ears perked when I said our government. Oh, interesting. Well, there you go. If she likes the Glock, there is something to be said. For some reason I thought you were black. I think we have another Mike that's black. Big Mike from Vegas, I'm thinking. I think he means foreigner. That was Ricardo Montalban 1974 car commercial about a Chrysler Cordova, Corinthian leather. The problem, though, Rad, if I go there, I will probably come back married. Well, don't go there. A buddy hooked me up with a teacher, sent the first text with a grammatical error. Monk mode for the win. That would be depressing. Forget the channel, but there's a Japanese guy who interviewed American women and their dating aspects. Wasn't very positive. Interesting. I'll check it out, Carl. I can find it. It is because of simps, our eyes were open, and we know no women by nature are as good as our biggest enemy. And great words. You will never be accepted as theirs, says Seraphim. To Japanese, it's still a numbers game. They just get fooled into thinking the numbers don't matter now. Sure. It is still a numbers game. I have unlimited PTO, but I work a lot. If I take a day, or probably take over the year days off, probably equivalent to 3 weeks. I'm not half Irish, but I'm sales, so I fit my schedule accordingly. Some weeks I work 10 hours, some weeks I work 100. It all depends. I'm all about results. I'm not half Irish, Indian. I'm the same color as Rachel Toloso. I identify as Italian, myself, even though I have no Italian blood. Yeah, I think it'd be hard. I think Japanese would be hard to learn. Genesis 3:16, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire they shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. There you go. But you got to go read Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 3, or is it 13? Where Paul talks to the men that are married, stay married. The men that are single, stay single. That's why I avoid some of my company's cushy overseas sites like Eastern Europe and Philippines. I will deploy and come back with a wife. A lot of guys do. They are meant to be taken by men. Where I work, my PTO can be banked up to 160 hours. A lot of folks now, especially in my corporate world, they are giving you PTO so that if you did leave the company and didn't take vacation, they wouldn't have to pay it out. So out of the genders of men and women, women come out unscathed with divorce, right? I think men come out more damaged initially than women. I think women get their damage done on the back end when either they hit the wall, their child support goes away, their alimony, and things like that. Imagine if we had a one-drop rule and make personal labels irrelevant. Japanese culture is extremely different. They encourage women to pursue rich men as husbands. Yeah. My aunt passed away on Wednesday, 83. Rest in peace, brother. Yeah. I mean, death, we're all going to go through it. We're all going to go through it. When did you first hear the word concept of divorce? Probably around, I was like 7 or 8, and I wanted to play with my friend down the street. And my mom says, oh, well, he's at his dad's house. I go, well, his dad lives down the street. No, his dad moves. He lives somewhere else. Oh, what? Why? Well, they got divorced. And that's the first time I heard it. Damage on the back end. There you go. I remember getting drunk as a skunk with my Polak friends. Then aggressively danced with Polish girls at the Polish club. Polish weddings for 300 Trebek. For the record, I'm 6'9", black from the waist down, and only make $1 million a year. Dang, brother. Did I mention I build schools in Africa for the poor and disenfranchised? I only take time off to adopt more kids. There you go. 6'9". What's the weather like up there? In Vietnam, I was considered a millionaire. I had a girl pulling all my shirt because she wanted to take me away from the girl. These women fight. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, rest in peace to Slam's aunt. Guys, it's been a great stream. I'm going to cut it short here. I got to get back and do a couple things. But your comments are very appreciative and spot on. Do something fun this weekend. You know, spend it with you. Go take yourself out on a date. Go watch people. Go watch couples come and go. I like that. I knew you were joking. I remember when my parents divorced when I was a younger teen, and I still remember all the consulates trying to spin it as 2 Christmases. Oh, yeah. Well, he has 2 Christmases. Isn't that great? My ex-wife told my son, you're gonna fit in well. There's so many divorced kids. Goofy. Guys, it's been great. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Check ya.